probably won't be anywhere.
All right, we'll call the meeting of the City Council to order and state that the notice for this meeting was duly posted. There is a quorum of City Council. Everyone's here. Councilman Ellen Catt is out ill, and if you'll stand, our Missouri City Fire and Rescue Service Department Honor Guard will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and post the colors. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On.
Very good, thank you. Do I have that? Bill McCray, come up here. Hurry.
Who's been up here in a long time?
A pillar of the community, that's what this represents.
Oh, my.
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
I know, hang on to it. Bill McCray has served this city as a planning and zoning commissioner for 24 years. And let me just tell you what, having served as a planning and zoning commissioner myself, I can tell you that they take as much heat as we do on city council, and they take it first. So they're our best guard before it gets to us. And let me just say, Bill, that on behalf of myself and the rest of council and the citizens of Missouri City, I just want to say thank you for all of those hours, all of the years of time that you spent to come up here and sit behind this desk and work through all of the plans and things that made Missouri City what it is today. Because you were here 24 years ago when we didn't have that many people here.
That's true.
And it's you and people like yourself who have seen this city develop over the 24 years and being what it is. And it's for that we just want to say thank you for your service.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
And you can take one of these for Lejeune.
Oh, is she a pillar too?
Yeah, she's a pillar. Well, yeah, because she let you come up here, but thank you very much.
Thank you very
for
much,
your
sir.
Bill, why don't you have your wife in that picture?
Oh,
Don't forget to share with your wife.
my. Oh, yeah, well, yes.
You want to say anything?
25 years is long enough.
Okay. I understand.
You need Marty?
Yeah, I said, who's next? I've got so much on here. Oh! Come on, Bert. Now I can say it's clocks, blocks, and rocks.
He's too young to retire.
Yeah, we can clocks, blocks, and rocks. You're good to go.
Where's Sergeant Broussard? Come on up, Sarge. Bring Michelle with you. You look better when she stands next to you. Most of you probably know this sergeant up here, but he's been with us for 38 and a half years. I'm going to give him the other half, so I'm going to say 39 years. We're going to round up. Goes without saying that everybody that's still in the Missouri City Police Department and those that are retired have worked with Gerald Broussard because he's outlasted many of them that have come and gone. He's been an influence on all of our lives. I even still run into people that are a little bit older than me that say, how is officer friendly? I never knew when he was officer friendly. That was before my time. But he was my first sergeant when I was a crime scene investigator, and he was always supportive. And he's going to walk out of these doors still being supportive of all of us. And he's truly a pillar of our department. We're going to miss you more than we can ever say. You're the epitome of an officer. You're outstanding. You're an officer's officer. And we're really going to miss you. I'm not going to end with that. I know the mayor's going to want to say something because he's going to make his clock and Glock remark. But I think Captain Bothell put up the $1 for your Glock. So.
Thank you, Captain.
But it bounced.
Well, I just want to let you know that in my exit review, I mentioned you as the chief of police or assistant chief of police, and you're a cop's cop. So, thank you.
You trained me well, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Gerald and I go back to when this started. And I was running a little old bank at Hillcroft in South Main, and Gerald and a bunch of other these guys were working off duty for me in the bank. So we go back these whole 38 years that he's been here. But, Gerald, you've meant a lot to this community. You still mean a lot to this community, and we don't want you to go away just because you're retiring. You stay active, both of you, and we're going to expect that of you. But this is just a small token of appreciation that says thank you, Sergeant Gerald M. Broussard, for more than 38 years of dedicated service to the Missouri City Police Department and its citizens. So
Thank you, Mayor.
don't
Appreciate it
let
very much.
time get away from you.
All
okay?
right.
Turn.
Thank you.
Mike, come over here. Just take a picture. Come here. Thank you.
I'm not going to jump off party.
Oh, thank you, sir.
It's unusual for anybody to spend that long in one place, I tell you. I know, and especially as a police officer, that's very difficult. We got another pair of rocks here. Come here, Graff. Bob Graff, 12 years, kind of like I said with everybody else that's come up here. This is really, Bob has really been an instrumental part of forming this city, and 12 of Bill's 25 years, Bob has been here bringing us businesses. Again, this is just a small token of our appreciation, Bob, for the 12 years that you have tirelessly brought all of the businesses and industry into Missouri City. And you know what? We're going to miss you too. So,
Thank you, Mayor.
say so. Yeah, go ahead. Work out. This is so you work out.
Yeah, definitely so. Thank you, Mayor, and I just wanted to say thanks to everybody, and especially to Mayor and Council for all of their support. We've had a lot of fun the last 12 years in bringing new business to Missouri City, and I think we'll see a lot more in the future. One of the things that I've been blessed with is to have been able to work with really 3 good city managers, great city managers. James Thurman hired me, Frank Simpson kind of brought me along, and now he turned me over to Ed. But unfortunately, won't get to see too much of what that has happened, of how that grows. But I just want to wish everybody success, and I think the future is still ahead greatly for Missouri City. So thank you very much.
Leo Arias. Leo began as a Parks Caretaker 1, and he's been with the Parks and Recreation Department for 21 years. At the end of his career, he was Parks Caretaker 3, promoted due to his equipment operation skills. During his career, Leo was a major contributor in a lot of what we did as a Parks Department, and here's a list of a few of his accomplishments. 4-year construction project to renovate the entire sports complex, grading and utility installation for Phase 2 of Community Park, grading of McNaughton Park, of which he became a rock star. That surrounding community was very, very appreciative of that project. Hunters Glen jogging trail construction improvements, trail construction in 9 parks, numerous park developments, playground construction in 10 parks, and I think his crowning achievement was the 2009 Traps Region 4 Equipment Rodeo Backhoe Champion. Like I said, Leo's been with the department for 21 years. He's going to be impossible to replace. He's the type of employee one would like an entire crew to model themselves after. Hardworking, dependable, responsible, and trustworthy. We're going to miss Leo. Thank you, Leo.
Watching the golf tournament this weekend, and John Deere said that somebody stole one of the tractors off of the tee box. I now know what happened to it. Congratulations to you. Thank you for your service. That's a neat plaque. Yeah. Now we have a presentation from the Missouri City Police Auxiliary. Where are they? Come on, Mary, bring the group up. We like getting checks. Chief, come on. Look at him smiling. Chiefs and chiefs. All yours. Do what? Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Helen Morris, and I'm president of the Missouri City Police and Fire Auxiliary. Tonight, we are going to present, we had our benefit, and we are going tonight, I guess I will do Chief Russell Sander. Come up, please. We'd like to present the fire department with a check for $12,000.
Thanks for all your hard work. One more, please, if you don't mind. Yeah, if you could just get a little bit closer this way. There we go.
How's that?
Thank you very much. One more. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mary Amaya. I'm second vice president for the auxiliary, and I would like to present the police department with $12,000 also.
Come on back this way, lady.
Okay, there we go, that's better.
This is an example of the city being blessed.
Ready? Here we go, 3, 2, 1 more. Thank you.
Do we have a date or one coming up?
Sometimes in April.
April? Let me just say that these ladies and guys represent the Missouri City Police and Fire Auxiliary, and they have a big benefit every year, and a big barbecue and dance and everything. And if you've not ever been, or if you've not participated in the past, you know, this is exactly what they do with it. These are things that are on both Russell and the Chief's wish list that we don't necessarily sometimes budget for, but I tell you what, they've bought boats, they've bought, huh? Oh, yeah, yeah, the mini stations and stuff like that. So all of that money will go to great use, and thank you all as an organization for what you do and for what you do for these two people. And, you know, they get their membership from people that go through the auxiliary, they go through the academy. So if you've not been through the Police Officers, Firefighters Academy, when that comes up, sign up and go through it, because once you get out of that, I think you'll have a different appreciation. And then those people go on and become auxiliary members, and as many of these people have been for many, many years, and continue to do a great job. So thank you all for coming. All right, item 4 on the agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to address council on agenda items or concerns that are not on the agenda. And I have someone who has signed up to speak, Charles Attaway.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Friday, I got to go to the open house at Niagara Bottling, and that was quite an eye-opening experience. That is quite an addition to the community. And I want to commend the mayor, the council, city manager, Ed Broussard, and staff, everybody that had anything to do with the $500 million of new business that we brought to the city, the additional 1,500 jobs that we've created. What was so impressive to me about Niagara last Friday was the innovation of that company. They took and redesigned the water bottle, took 2/3 of the weight out of the bottle and the cap itself. These people are leaders and they're innovators, much like the mayor and the city council and the staff is. I want to commend y'all for that. Number 2, Missouri City's won numerous awards, recognition, financial awards. We had the City Center. At one time, Money Magazine said we were one of the top 100 cities in the country to live in. That's a lot to be proud of. My suggestion is this: we don't rest on our laurels. We have more work to do, and as a team, as a group, we can look at issues from several different perspectives. One is, issues are problems. I'm going to encourage you not to do that. Look at an issue as an opportunity. Every time we're faced with an issue, we can make the best out of it. We can also disagree on issues. The council, with each other, staff, the citizens. But one thing we have to do when we disagree is be agreeable. Once again, I want to thank you for your leadership and the innovation and the foresightfulness that you're showing in the leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. All right, item 5 are staff reports, and I know in the past, at least last meeting and maybe previous meetings, there's been discussions about tax increment reinvestment zones and tax abatements that we have approved for different entities. And so I've asked city manager just to kind of give us a refresher report on what a TERS does, what a tax abatement does, where we're using it, who we've used it with, and a little explanation, because I know that in reading some of the blogs that are out there, there's a lot of misconceptions about what we do with TERS and the fact that we are giving the city away. So I've asked Ed to do that for all of us.
Council's ready?
Yeah.
Gary took some of the different, as far as information that we presented in the past, and worked at that along with some additional information to talk a little bit about the 3 TERSs we have and what we use them for.
It's already ahead of me. Ed asked me to keep this, well, simple, so that people can understand without trying to get in all the legalisms of how you work TERS and how TERS operate. But primarily, a TERS, or a tax increment reinvestment zone, not to be confused with a reinvestment zone that we use for tax abatement purposes. Two different creatures, and we have things with similar numbers, but you have to look at why they were created. Tax increment reinvestment zone is a method to finance public improvements, not private improvements, but public improvements. That's going to be within a defined geographic area or within the boundaries of the zone, utilizing the increased taxes that are received based upon the improvements that are made within that geographic area. It's all controlled by Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code, and I'll try to stop the legalisms.
Gary, and just give examples of what public, projects are so that people understand that too.
Indeed. Let me see how many slides I need to go in.
Yeah, we'll get into
Well, if
each.
it's in that, that's fine.
We'll get to
Yeah.
it, but
Okay.
very simply, we use it primarily for streets, public utilities, water, wastewater. We use it for things that, in many cases, a city has to put in place in order for a development to happen. In Missouri City, if a development happens within a municipal utility district, many of those improvements are funded through the MUD, or through the municipal utility district. If it's not within a municipal utility district, it's very hard to get development to compete with that. And it's not unique in Missouri City to have that difficulty in competition for development. With a TERS, there are no additional taxes or fees levied on the property. It is value of the property, city's tax rate, county's tax rate. A PID will have, and a public improvement district will have an additional assessment. These are the taxes that would normally be paid. The purpose of the zone is to encourage desired development, not just any development, but desired development. We have the option of agreeing to enter into reimbursement agreements with developers so that as the tax increment or as the taxes increase on that property, we're able to use that money to reimburse for the public improvements that have been put in place. Those public improvements are put in place by the private developer. Sometimes a city may go forward and put in the public improvement and get reimbursement back to its general fund from the tax increment fund. Understand, the theory of a TERS is that that development would not happen if it were not for the existence of the assistance and the existence of the zone. Otherwise, the developer is not going to spend the money or risk the money. What is tax increment? It's the amount of taxes levied over the base value of the property. When we created TERS 1 and TERS 2 in 1999, the base value of the property was established. Whatever that taxable value on the property within the zone was on January 1 of 1999, that's the base value. The city keeps getting those taxes. The county keeps getting those taxes. The city puts them into the general fund and spends them in the general fund. That continues. I've tried to give you a graphic example because sometimes seeing it helps better. Yes, I made this up. This is not based on any reality. But you can see the blue, that would be the base value. It does not change. We get that value throughout the life of it. I took this out 8 years. A TERS will last 30 years. So the base value stays the same, it's constant. What changes, as improvements are made, as buildings are built, you will see the increment grow. And from that increment, we're able to encourage development. Now, what may be financed? Your question, Mayor. Public works, public improvements, new buildings, structures, and fixtures. Remediation of conditions that contaminate public or private land or buildings, preservation of facade of a public or a private building. Those are a general description of what we may use TERS or the tax increment funds to reimburse for or to spend the money for. Public works, as we know, streets, drainage, water utilities, public improvements, new buildings. A lot of times you can build parks with them. You can build schools with TERS money. You can do monumentation to make the area more desirable. You can do things with TERS money to attract business into it, into the zone and into the area of the TERS. As I said, at the time the TERS or the zone is created, the base value is established. As the improvements are made, the increment grows. Generally, the developer constructs the improvements and waits for the values to increase and waits for the reimbursement. The developer takes the risk. The city does not build it and hope they will come. The developer builds it and uses his knowledge to make sure he gets his money back. The advantage of a TERS over other financing methods is that other entities, other than school districts, there are very odd ways school districts can participate, but other governmental entities may participate. When you have, and in our case, we get the county to participate, the increment grows much faster because they pledge a portion of their tax revenues as part of the increment fund and provides for a quicker reimbursement. That encourages the developer even more to make the improvements. Any funding of reimbursements, whether that's a direct payment for the city to do the work or issuance of debt or a direct repayment of a developer's cost, is paid solely from the tax increment fund, solely from that red area I showed you on the chart earlier. Does not come from the general fund. It comes from that. Recalling, we probably wouldn't be seeing that in the general fund if we didn't encourage the development in the first place. This is a map of TERS 1. It extends from Highway 90 down Texas Parkway. It was originally created for 5th Street. It extends around on Lexington or Independence. We have extended it down Texas Parkway to capture all the undeveloped and all the commercial properties, and down Cartwright to 1092, capturing all the undeveloped and all the commercial properties, so that if we have a chance, an opportunity to encourage development there, we can do that. It was created in 1999. Two major projects we've seen in TERS 1 is the Liberation Project, or Glen Park subdivision, and the Texas Parkway Sidewalks and Drainage Project. Bonds that have been sold to date to reimburse the developer for the Liberation Project, $6,540,000. The balance in the increment fund as of the end of the 2012 fiscal year was $535,000. Annual increment is a little under $700,000. Each zone has a project plan, and I'm going to run through this quickly because you can see this is what was estimated at the beginning of the zone. Almost $2.4 million for public infrastructure to support business, $4.8 million to support residential development. 5th Street, almost $850,000. Independence Boulevard had $7.5 million set aside, a hike and bike trail for $850,000. Independence Park, $6.5 million. Texas Parkway Cartwright Road, $21 million has been set aside. Other project cost $27 million for a total of $71 million. It's what has been projected that if it is successful, it can raise and it can help reimburse. TERS 2 is an area, it's primarily the Vicksburg area. The primary projects in it so far have been, well, it was created in 1999, primary projects, Lakeshore Harbor subdivision, infrastructure for Creekmont subdivision and the commercial area of Creekmont, Fort Bend Town Center that Newquest has put in, and the traffic signal on Lakeshore Harbor in Vicksburg that Walmart has put in. And now I'm off, but that's okay. The certificates of obligation were sold to reimburse Lakeshore Harbor. Approximately $1.8 million is still to be reimbursed or to be refunded. And after looking at that, I think that number is a little high. I think it's a little less than that. Approximately $500,000 will be used to reimburse Walmart for putting in the traffic signal. I figure it'll take about 2 more years and we'll be able to pay them off. And that's out of cash without issuing any debt. Balance in the increment fund is about $3.3 million. Understanding when I say it's $3.3 million, we have to pay our debt service. We have debt service for the reimbursement to Fort Bend Town Center. We have reimbursement debt service for Lakeshore Harbor. We have not issued debt service for Creekmont. They have not requested it yet. We have not issued debt service on the traffic signal at Walmart. Annual increment is a little over $1.1 million in TERS 2. And I'm not going to even try to go through all these. You have the information, but the project plan includes Lake Olympia Parkway extension, Trammell Fresno improvements, Hillcroft or the Vicksburg extension, and public works to support business development. Creekmont, we will be owing probably about $3.1 million to them. As I said, as you notice, now I have a different number, about 1.5 or 1.6 million owed on Lakeshore Harbor left on that, 500,000 on the traffic signal at Walmart, and 2.3 million for Fort Bend Town Center. TERS 3 is the Sienna TERS. It was set up to work with the Sienna Management District, and its purpose is to develop the commercial areas in Sienna Plantation, not the residential, but the commercial. It is also all within the city. It was created in 2008 with a 30-year life. Projects are managed by the Sienna Management District. We get the increment. We have an agreement with them where we provide them the funding or the money out of the increment fund so that they can pay the debt service that is related solely to the TERS improvements. We have transportation improvements, Sienna Parkway, Sienna Ranch Road, Sienna Springs Boulevard, Fort Bend Toll Road, landscaping and beautification. There's funding, I believe, for a structured parking garage, a variety of other improvements and monumentation to make that as an attractive as a development as possible so that we can see its continued success. We have utilized funding from TERS 3 to make intersection improvements at where Watts Plantation Road intersects Sienna Parkway. You may recall the difficulty people were having there, and through TERS 3 we were able to fund those improvements. The balance in the increment fund at the end of fiscal 12 was $1.1 million. The annual increment is a little over $500,000. This really gets long and complex. These are the projects that could be funded. Many of them have had funding provided to them. Most recently, we utilized TERS 3 to help fund the extension of the frontage roads for the Fort Bend Parkway from Sienna Parkway to Sienna Ranch Road. Complete Sienna Ranch Road so that it is another way out of Sienna, bringing it over, I believe, Flat Bank Creek, bringing it up where it comes up to Highway 6. Extending Sienna Springs Road across the channel so that it will connect with LJ Parkway, and using LJ Parkway to connect to University. So we're creating that road network that can bring people to that town center as it develops. Funding is also available in TERS 3 for HCC, their location in Sienna. Are there any questions?
Yeah, with all the projects and everything, none of it happens unless a developer create the increment. Is that correct?
There is no reimbursement unless somebody does something to create the increment for reimbursement. Increment does not create on its own. It takes a developer to build something to increase the tax revenues for that area.
That's why you said earlier, the developer, who's the
develop-
one who takes risk.
The
not
developer
city.
takes the risk.
Yeah.
There are times when funding can be projected as a TERS is in its life, when it may be appropriate to consider a project that is funded and reimbursement is sought by the public entities. But generally, it's the developer that takes the risk.
Gary, I know in the last, I think the last meeting, there was a comment made that there would be no taxes collected on the project that was before us for 30 years. That's not true. There are taxes collected, and the school collects full tax because they're not in the increment.
That's correct.
They collect the full tax of what the value of the project is.
I assume you're referring to Mr. Wong's development.
Yes.
That will pay full taxes as they are assessed. Now, the city's share and half of the county taxes, based on the agreements, will go into the increment fund. We will use those taxes to more rapidly reduce our obligations. The sooner we can get our obligations paid off in the TERS, the sooner we can end the TERS. But we've developed it. The school does get all of their taxes because the legislature decided several years ago that schools do not need to participate in TERS.
But these are typically, in all three of our TERS, they're for infrastructure that the city does not have to put in, but yet ends up with.
That's correct.
Public streets, drainage, sewer lines, water lines, all that stuff. The developer, as Danny said, the developer takes the risk, puts it in. He doesn't get reimbursed unless he creates value in whatever his project is. But we end up with the streets. We end up with all of the improvements that the taxpayers of Missouri City don't have to pay for at the time that they go in. So
That's how they're designed
that's the beauty
to
of a
work.
TERS.
The even better part of a TERS is that legislation's been changed. When our first two TERS were created, all of our increment had to go into the increment fund. If we were to create another TERS now, we would have the option of choosing what percentage to put in. So we wouldn't be strapped with having to put it all in.
Okay.
And the use of a TERS is not just unique to Missouri City. TERS are being used, as I recall, in Sugar Land for their, I'm not sure exactly what their zone is, but for their development.
They're used all across the state of Texas.
Yeah, right.
I was familiar with them in Corpus Christi. They've been created in Greenville when I was there. I know they're used in
First
Dallas
Colony
and
was a
Fort Worth,
TERS.
all over that area. So it is
Okay.
not at all uncommon. The
Thank
uptown
you.
area in Houston is developed
Yeah.
with TERS.
And it can be used for redevelopment.
Yes, indeed.
As we talk about Texas Parkway and Cartwright, the reason that those two corridors are in a TERS is that, like I said, we put in those streets, we put in those sidewalks, and we're hoping that we can do some redevelopment at some point in time when we can find a partner who takes that risk
Cannot use that.
and comes into the TERS
Well,
and gets reimbursed when it gets developed, so.
misleading.
Good.
Yeah, sometimes just let
Thank you.
somebody say it.
Or
We
public
know we can't do
improvements.
that.
Do you have tax abatement too? Or
No,
does-
that doesn't.
No.
Wes has got a couple
Wes has
slides
tax
on tax
abatement.
abatements, just talk
Okay.
about
That's
just
But it's a
how the
different
city's
animal.
done on those.
Yeah, it's a
100 slides.
100 slides,
100
we'll
slides.
reduce it to 10.
How about two?
Yeah.
Mayor, you said that fund could be used for sidewalk repairs?
If it were in an area that, yes, could in
For the TERS.
fact.
I thought we
yes.
have a certain
Huh?
budget for,
Well, we do.
So
But I'm just
we
saying,
cannot
under
use that for-
redevelopment, if we were redeveloping an area and the sidewalks were an issue, those sidewalks could be installed as part of that TERS, is that right?
Correct.
Yes.
So if it was in the
in that
TERS district,
certain area only,
Yeah,
not
exactly,
all the
yeah.
sidewalks in the city?
Right, just in that area, yeah.
So in regards to tax abatements, which is Another tool that we have for bringing companies to town is the city currently has 9 active abatement agreements. 4 of those showed up on the tax year 12 assessments. And it brought, well, that's later on. And the other 5 should show up in 13,
Yeah.
which we should get by the end of this month or early next month. I stretched this to 2 slides. And the new improvement value for the 4 companies reporting amounted to about $17 million. So they range from anywhere from 50% abatement to 85% abatement. So somewhere in there is what we netted. And once we receive those 2013s, we're going to update the schedules and give everything on there a little more clearer picture, and get all the proposed numbers on there as well, so we can see this is what was proposed and here we're sitting. And of those 4 that we do have, they're all performing better than we thought.
Do we have those?
As far as the 4 that we have that,
Yeah, we can name those.
Oh, yes.
you got Lufkin, you have, what was it?
FWP, which is
That's,
Warren Alloy, I
right?
believe.
Yeah.
And
Had the sheet the other day. I can't
And all of our
remember.
tax abatement companies
Global
are in the
Geophysical.
2 industrial parks that we have in the city.
Global-
That's the
Global
difference in the
and Star
TERS and the tax abatement.
Yeah. Well, and you can do the tax payments though anywhere in the city.
Yes, but I mean, that's where ours are.
The concentration are with either Lakeview Business Park or Beltway Crossing. And so it's one to where you have Global Geophysical, that's on Gessner Road. In Lakeview Business Park, you have Warren Alloy and,
Star?
Southwest Electronics, did we do Southwest
Yes, but
Electronics?
they
but that's
haven't
going to show
showed
up
up
in
yet.
the 2013.
All right, but
Yeah, it's Global,
the 4,
Star,
yeah.
FWP, I'm sorry, and
That's the first one we said.
Lufkin.
Yep.
So who else participate in these abatements with us, other government entities?
The county,
Fort Bend County does, and depending on the type of project, you'll also have WCID number 2 that'll get involved. And so you'll have, those are the ones. The school district does not take part in our tax abatements. The county does usually the same percentage that we do for the 10-year period.
Does this include personal property taxes?
not that I've seen as far as reviewing the agreements, no.
Yeah, I've done it to where you've done both. You've done it somewhere it's just on real property. Majority have been on real property. But there's been a couple, especially recently,
No,
that we've done.
improvements, not real property.
Oh, on the improvements, but that have been on the equipment. You've had a couple that have been on equipment, but the majority have been just on the improvements to the property.
Yeah, and the only reason I mention it because it's not as simple as saying property tax, because there's other revenue sources of taxes we receive by allowing that business to come into the city through the abatement.
Yeah.
Could be some sales tax.
Right.
Sales tax, yeah. I mean, so it's
And both of those parks, I think both of them, that I know that Gessner does, all have Freeport exemption as well for those people that would sometimes qualify for Freeport exemptions, but
They all do, yes, sir.
I don't know, Wes, if you've done this or not, but eventually it would probably look good to have some sort of a illustration, a graph of what the abatement exposed years compared to what's coming in.
Yeah,
That'll help out,
working on that.
yeah.
a little visual.
yeah. Any other questions? Good report, guys. I just thought it was important that we bring everybody up to date on where we were with all three of the TERS and our tax abatement, because it gets back to what Charlie Attaway said. We're bringing these businesses here, and we have to compete. One of the things that Missouri City doesn't have, that our cities around us have, is a 4B corporation, or the ability to take a penny of its sales tax and use it for economic development. Missouri City, being that we're part of Metro's taxing authority, a penny of our sales tax goes to Metro for mobility. Whereas Sugarland's penny goes for economic development, and they've got the ability to sit there and write a check for $5 million to get somebody like Minute Maid to move their headquarters to Missouri City. We have to have some competitive piece to compete with the Acadias, the Sugarlands, the Pearlands that are getting all these things. And the only way we can do it is to use tax abatement and tax increment reinvestment zones to do that. And I can tell you that a number of those businesses, and Niagara would probably be one of them, that, look at that very closely. And when they compare us to the other cities that are out there romancing them, that's the only competitive edge we've got. And I think we've been very frugal in what we've done. And as Jerry has cautioned us all, at some point in time, you have to be careful and not give away, the whole enchilada, but I think we're doing a very good job of attracting some businesses that, like Charlie said, $500 million worth of new stuff on the ground, 1,500 new jobs is quite an achievement for what we've done in the last 24 months, so thank you. Any other questions? All right, if not, let me just say, I forgot to mention this. Our thoughts and prayers need to be with Martin Saldua's family. Martin was on WCNID number 2, died over the weekend. A longtime friend of the city, is one of the people, I think, on that board that really did understand Missouri City's partnership in WCNID number 2. And for those that are familiar with WCNID number 2, probably understand what I'm saying. It's not been an easy thing. Again, WCNID number 2 has been our partner in all of these projects that we've done in Lakeview Business Park, or at least in Gessner, and it is their participation. But our thoughts and prayers, Martin had been very ill and was on life support, and over the weekend they decided to take him off of life support, and so he passed away. So keep the Saldua family in your prayers. He's a longtime resident of Stafford and will be missed, I know, so thank you. All right, item 6 is a consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed?
Move to them.
Mayor Pro Tem White made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emery. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 7 are public hearings and related actions. 7A is a zoning public hearing, 7A1.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending specific use permit number 73, authorizing the use of a 19.52 acre tract of land in the City of Missouri City as specific use places of assembly, describing such 19.52 acre tract of land, providing limitations, restrictions, and conditions on such specific use, referencing a site plan, providing for certain construction according to said plan, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City as adopted by ordinance number 081-1, adopted on January 19, 1981 as amended, providing an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
This is a public hearing, and I had no one to sign up for the public hearing. Have there been any changes?
There has been a change, as council requested at the last meeting, to put a provision that any lights associated with the play fields would be turned off by 10 o'clock. The applicant has requested that time be reconsidered, and if they can extend that time by 1 hour to 11 o'clock p.m., to ensure that if they are playing a game, that they have the ability to complete that game within the allotted time frame.
I don't have a problem with that being the exception, but we have that same policy in our parks. They're no different. I don't want it to become something that is a habit either, but I think we would be very sympathetic to having that happen if it happened, but I don't think, I'd rather see us do that as an exception rather than allow it to go to 11 o'clock period. If we can address that.
If you don't want it to be the exception, you could make it to where they would have to notify either the city or the police department or someone that in order to allow for the game or for the lights to continue on till 11. Otherwise, it's one to where you should just keep it at 10.
Well, I don't
Or
have a
have it
problem
just at
with
11.
giving them the ability to do that. And sometimes that happens. You get a tie ball game and it can go on and on. You don't want to just say, hey, the city said you got to stop it right now. I just want to make sure that it's an exception, that it's not a standard. Because if it's 11 o'clock and it's tied at 11 o'clock, what are you going to do then? You're going to say, well, we got to go on to 12? No, if it's tied at 10 o'clock, the same applies there. So if you leave it at 10.
If you leave it at 10, then if it occurs, then somebody reports them or whatever. If it becomes an occurrence, regular occurrence, then definitely, get
Yeah.
reported or whatever. And
I think that's the way to
have
do
the
it.
issue.
I think if it becomes an issue and it's a routine, then we'll address it. I think leaving it at 10 and saying this council understands that there are exceptions to that and we're.
It can be
good with that.
forgiven
Yeah.
once or twice.
I don't have a problem with that. Is there a motion?
Move to adopt.
Second. Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem White made the motion. Councilman Wynn, who's a member of that church, made the second. All those in favor? Don't be playing baseball out there at 11 o'clock now, Danny.
Don't start the game at 10:30.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we're gonna make you,
Thank you.
make you the referee.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, I think they understand that. Good luck, guys. Yeah, Pastor, you're not gonna be out there at 11 o'clock at night, I know. Good luck. We're just ready for you to get that thing up and running over there. We're going to. Get that church open and get some chairs in that sanctuary and everybody's. I know, it's a beautiful facility though. Good luck with it. All right, item 7A2.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, granting a specific use permit authorizing the use of a 1.91 acre tract of land in the City of Missouri City as a specific use places of assembly, providing limitations, restrictions, and conditions on such specific use, referencing elevation drawings, providing for certain construction according to said drawings, amending the zoning map of the City of Missouri City as adopted by ordinance number 0811, adopted on January 19, 1981 as amended, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
This also is the second public hearing, and I had no one sign up. Have there been any changes to it?
No, sir, no changes.
Is there a motion?
Move to adopt. It's going to be a beautiful facility.
It is.
Second.
My church members made the motion and the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 7B1.
Public hearings to receive comments for or against the execution of strategic partnership agreement between the City of Missouri City and Sienna Plantation Municipal Utility District Number 4, and consider execution of same contract.
All right, and let me get back to my notes. Caroline has suggested that, I guess, that we suspend the rules and we take item B1, 2, 3, 4, and item 10A
Move to
in that
adopt.
order. Is that right?
Correct.
I move
All
to
right,
suspend the rules.
Second.
Councilman Smith made the motion to suspend the rules. Mayor Pro Tem White made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, so B1.
This is the, B1 is the opening of the public hearing for SPA number 1. I'm sorry, SPA for MUD 4.
Okay?
And council, if I may ask, is there any, we did not prepare a presentation or anything to go over it again, but are there any questions over the entire project that might be able to help a little bit more before hitting each of the different agreements, if we wanted to address anything overall before going through each one?
We have the Hillwood people here.
Steve is
And,
here.
Steve's here.
Well, my
He's
biggest,
brief, so he doesn't rack up $250 an hour. You know, tell him I'm trying to look after you, people.
Thank you.
Okay.
my bigger concern.
All right, Lisa.
Are we comfortable with the fire operation agreements? That, guys, we
With
got
the
to
what?
make sure the fire operation agreements.
Yeah.
So with that one, it's one, and I'll take it first, Steve. We are, this agreement has it to where they are contracted with MUD number 1 for fire services, and so the payments that dictate through MUD 1 are the ones that they will pay. We are currently working as staff with MUD 1 on the Fire Station Number 5 operations agreement and getting that as far as finalized and then back before council. So this agreement of itself says that they will adhere to whatever we end up approving through MUD number 1 at a later point.
That's correct. And as you discussed at the last meeting, the city did provide a revised draft to MUD number 1 after the last meeting. That agreement is being reviewed now, and comments will be coming back shortly. So it is in process.
And the point that we really need to consider is that with Fire Station 5, you know, we need to have an agreement, or we're going to do Fire Station 5, we're going to build it. If we build it, or we're going to operate it. And you kind of caught in the yang-yang, I understand that, okay? And, but from our standpoint, we can't be caught there.
Right, I understand.
Okay?
And the construction,
Just clarify.
So what'd you say?
Technical term. Yes.
Maria can't spell it.
And the construction contract is separate from the operations contract. So
That's right.
with staff, we're good and comfortable with the construction of Fire Station Number 5 that's going on. And we have taken no effort to, well, we haven't started spending any funds related to Fire Station Number 5 as far as the actual operations until the agreement is done. So that includes hiring of staff, purchase of equipment, that type of thing won't be started until the operations agreement is completed. So as staff, we feel we're in a comfortable position to continue discussions on the operations agreement. And like I said, the construction agreement, which is already, the Station Number 5 is underway, that one's covered separately and is already being funded by the MUDs.
So, but in this agreement, it says that, if I remember correctly, it says that they have no contract.
They have an agreement with MUD number 1.
That's right.
For fire services.
Okay.
So MUD number 1 will bill them for the, as per the operations agreement that will be completed, or that council will approve later. They will be billed by MUD number 1 for those fire services.
So it's really not our agreement
Well, I
that needs to be completed.
understand, I understand that, but I just hate to see us get down that road and people, I mean, so are we close to getting an agreement with them?
We have a version with them that they're looking at. We spoke to the MUD board members to say this is something we want to move along quickly. They stated that they too want to get this done quickly, so it is one to where there will probably be some discussion that continues for a while. I can't say whether it be 2 or 3 months that we get back to council, but the process has started for getting this moving along, and both parties understand that they want to see it done as soon as possible.
So, but what happens if we don't get this done?
With them, it really doesn't affect Hillwood.
It does
yes,
affect them.
It
It
does
does affect
but
them down the road.
It affects them
Just
down the
not
road.
now.
It's one to where we don't open up, when the fire station is completed and constructed, and if we don't have an operations agreement in place, there won't be services being operated out of there.
But that's not the expectations, I think, of either side.
I know that.
And
But
both-
understand, Steve, what Jerry's concern is, and
No,
we need
I
to move this along.
Absolutely. We understand that.
And if you don't have the conversation, you don't create the expectation.
Correct.
Because that station's under construction right now, and it will be finished.
We are paying for it, we understand.
And you want a truck sitting in it, I'm sure.
That's right.
What appears to be the sticking point with MUD 1? I mean, as far as the agreement?
It will be cost. I mean, it's going to be as simple as that. It's going to be the amount of what it will have to be that they'll have to pay for those services. So it's one to where, in the number of different parties we've spoken to, it's been about the amount of that the cost is going to be.
Is that negotiable?
No.
Not on our end.
But that'll be part of the discussions. I mean, it's.
That's what I said. Do they want a truck in that facility? They want it empty.
Well, it's not so much the truck, it's the personnel,
Oh,
the
well, I know, but
administration
the
costs.
personnel goes with the truck.
And the operations agreement does have in place that the Fire Station 5 will be run at the same standards
Yeah.
as the other city departments, so.
I trust
and that
you
way
will
there
get it
is not
worked
much
out,
negotiation.
Mr. Robinson
We'll visit down the hall.
and Miss Lisa. Okay? We need it too.
We
We don't
agree.
want an incident to happen down there that we weren't able to respond to, so. All right. So is there a motion on B1?
So moved.
Second.
Do we need to take them all separately?
They're listed separately, so yes, I
Okay.
will be quick.
What and when? All those in favor? Motion carries. B2,
Public hearing to receive comments for or against the execution of a strategic partnership agreement between the City of Missouri City, Texas, and Sienna Plantation Municipal Utility District Number 5, and consider execution of same.
is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
White and Emery. All those in favor? Motion carries. B3,
Public hearing to receive comments for or against the execution of a strategic partnership agreement between the City of Missouri City, Texas, and Sienna Plantation Municipal Utility District Number 6, and consider execution of same.
is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Everybody wants. White and Went. All those in favor? Motion carries. That bothered me there for a minute. Looked like a second there, Steve.
I was about
Did your
to.
heart kind of drop there, Louis?
About to second it.
I know, B4.
Public hearing to receive comments for or against the execution of a strategic partnership agreement between the City of Missouri City, Texas, and Sienna Plantation Municipal Utility District Number 7, and consider execution of same.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
I'm awake.
All right. Emery and Wynn. All those in favor? Motion carries. And then 10A.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the mayor to execute and the city secretary to attest the Eighth Amendment to the Sienna Plantation Joint Development Agreement between the City of Missouri City, UST Prue, Sienna LP, Sienna Johnson Development LP, Sienna Johnson North LP, Brushy Lake LP, and Sienna Plantation Development Corporate
I
Company.
need some action on this side of the table over here, Yolanda. Attaboy, Mrs. Smith.
Second.
All right. Beth and Ford, all those in favor? Motion carries. All right, very good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guys, we're
Again,
ready for you to get started.
Thank you so much to the staff
Okay.
For all their hard work and effort, and thank you, council, for
We're ready.
passing this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gonna be a beautiful
Don't forget to
development.
say hello to Ross Perot. I'll be persistent.
We'll
I will
have
keep
him here
bugging
for
you
the
until you
ribbon.
get an answer for me.
Yeah, we'll have him here for the ribbon cutting, okay? That first house. Bye, girl. All right, item 7. B5, yeah.
Public hearing to receive comments regarding the vacation, closure, and abandonment of certain segments of Point Lane, and consider an ordinance of City, Missouri City, Texas, finding and determining that public convenience and necessity no longer require the continued existence of certain segments of Point Lane, providing for the vacation, closure, and abandonment of such certain segments of Point Lane, containing other provisions relating to the subject, and consider the ordinance on the second and final reading.
And it is a public hearing. I have no one to speak other than you.
I'm trying not
I know. This is a second reading anyway, and anyone not
changes.
understand what we're doing with that Hammerhead Drive at the end of that street? Not, we'll entertain a motion. Mr. Emery? Yeah, okay.
I second.
Any questions? Not, we'll vote. All those in favor, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah, sold another house over there.
Yeah, there's at least 2 of them that
Yeah.
sold.
There's some nice houses. I went
Yeah.
in them. They're really.
He sold 2 of them.
Really nice.
All right, item 8 are appointments. A is consider appointment of TERS number 1 interim board members, and explain why it's interim.
When these TERSs were set up, they were set up with interim dates, beginning with the date of the beginning of the TERS, which is fine, and that is actually fine for all of the board members. However, state law now requires that the chairman be appointed with the term effective January 1. So council discussed this issue and determined that it was easier to have all the board members and the chairman begin terms at the same time, so the ordinances are being amended to affect that. This is the time period by which they will be converted over to that January 1 time period.
All right, so who's got A? TERS 1 for interim board members.
I'm playing golf. Do I make, how does this work? Do you openly just nominate someone, or?
We're appointing them.
You're appointing them right now?
Yes, this is
Okay.
council's appointment.
Okay.
You want all of them?
Yeah, all of them.
You got them all?
And I can
Yes.
read those
You
into
read
the
'em.
record.
Yeah.
Ron Lee, position 1. Lynn Goff, position 3. David Hamner, position 5. Term commencing August 2, 2013. That was the term that was in existence under TERS 1 through December 31, 2013.
That's your motion, Mr. Smith?
Yes. Yes.
Second.
Been a motion by Councilman Smith, second by Councilman Wynn. All those in favor, motion carries. 8B, consider appointing a TERS 1 interim chairman for the term ending December 31, 2013.
I would like council to consider appointing Lynn Goff as the chair, interim chair.
Second.
Okay? Been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not, we'll vote. All those in favor, motion carries. High paying, Lynn. I mean, it carries big responsibility. Got to have liability insurance. No.
Benefit.
All right. 8C, consider appointing TERS number 2 interim board members.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we reappoint Ron Lee, Frank Hester, and Buford Jerica.
Okay? Got a motion?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Wise, second by Councilman Emery. All those in favor, motion carries. Item 8D is consider appointing a TERS number 2 interim chairman.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Frank Hester.
Okay?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem White made the motion, Councilman Emery made the second. All those in favor, motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 9 are authorizations. 9A is consider authorizing the parkland dedication of the Talia Woods residential subdivision. Or is it Talia? Which is it? Talia, Talia? How do you pronounce it? Huh? Talia? Do we know?
Spanish, the 2 L's, you have to roll it a little bit.
Pronunciation?
What is it?
Oh, it's not too.
Talia?
Okay.
Talia, okay.
I would have messed that up then.
That must be Italian, that's not Spanish.
All right.
Mayor and council.
Just tell them where it is, you know.
Talia Wood Patio Homes is a proposed residential subdivision to be located west of the Quail Valley Thunderbird West subdivision and east of Oyster Creek Manor assisted living facility and a Missouri City nursing home, which is presently under construction. Subdivision will be a private gated community and consist of 45 residential units. Developers proposing to provide half of the required parkland dedication as private parks and to provide a cash payment in lieu of parkland for the other half in the amount of $600 per dwelling unit for a total amount of $27,000. The development was originally considered as a component of Planned Development District 74, known as Hampton Point. City Council approved a parkland dedication for Hampton Point in December of 2009. At the time, the area proposed was planned to contain 43 residential units. In the time since the parkland dedication was approved, the Exxon pipeline easement and pipeline were realigned to facilitate the development of the subdivision. In addition to 2 additional lots were added to the overall development. The development is located in Park Zone 7, and if approved, cash payment in lieu of parkland can only be used in that park development or acquisition only in Park Zone 7. Parks in that zone are Oak Hill Park, Roan Park, Community Park, McNaughton Park, Mosley, and Ridgeview Park. A section of the GCWA Trail and the Recreation and Tennis Center are also located within this zone. Staff recommends accepting the developer's proposal. Park and Rec Advisory Board considered the application's proposal at their June 27, 2013 meeting and recommended 8-0 that the plan be approved as proposed. P&Z Commission considered the proposal at its July 10, 2013 meeting and forwards a positive recommendation for approval.
And let me just bring council up to date. There had been some question when we were at Quail Valley with Floyd, and I don't know if Jerry was there the other night at Quail Valley Fund about why construction had stopped on the nursing home piece there. And it didn't look like it was taking very much activity in this particular project, but I did hear back today from the developer of the nursing home. They had some truss issues, not trust, truss issues. Those have been resolved and construction has started back again. I think there were some other issues that were on the subdivision that kind of slowed it down, getting it done, but both of those should be back on board and moving again very shortly. For those that don't remember it, the Oyster Creek Manor is the building that's there today. Half of it is memory care, half of it is assisted living. The project that's under construction behind the bank is a nursing home. Then between the nursing home and these patio homes will be a assisted living center. And then they will take the Oyster Creek Manor, and that will become all memory care. And then the assisted living will be next to the houses, and then the houses will be there. And then in addition to that, at some point in time, they've talked about a hospice as well as a little office building for some doctors for elder care. So anyway.
Do we have,
No, go
I
ahead.
just wanted, do we have a schematic that shows where the parkland is located within that complex?
Where the parkland is?
They're paying money in lieu.
Yeah,
Are they-
so-
Oh, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so
they're
there's
not.
$27,000.
I thought it was only half.
Half.
I thought half was in funds and the
You're
other
not
half
gonna need a
was-
whole lot of park space for a seniors
You go.
I mean, that's what he
facility.
said, you're right.
And they're using,
That's what it said.
Yeah.
and sidewalk development to be used as trails
Yeah.
also, and some green space.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the parkland area here, in
All-
green?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And is there easy access to all of those areas? Or are they going to be tucked in behind a home or something that you can't
You
get
got
to?
the streets.
Yeah, you've got
They're all accessible.
Yeah.
They're all
By the-
accessible?
Yeah, you got the
two
streets.
green that run right along the street. On the bottom south of it, that's Hampton, right there.
Okay.
To kind of give an idea of that in relation to that. And you'll be able to address it's really for the internal residents of that area.
And I think when this whole project is finished, this whole layout, there's going to be connecting sidewalks that go from these different types. Because the whole idea here was that you move from one
It's
particular
a
project
community.
to the other as a community for seniors and who are at different levels. So it'll be well connected, and I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of outdoor activity in that age group of people other than maybe sitting outside in the parks and stuff, so.
So basically, there's no public parkland in this section.
Correct.
Okay. And I guess I was a little bit confused. What was the allotment for the public parkland? I know it says parkland totaling .789 acres. And that was the private part. So is that how much private that's left?
Well, they're doing a half and half. There's no public, half private and half cash in lieu of.
But you can't use public parkland in lieu of private. That's why I'm kind of confused, is how you got to these numbers, because they don't,
Well, the ordinance allows them to do a cash in lieu of, and private in lieu of a public parkland dedication. They can do a public parkland dedication in the amount of 1 acre for every 100 lots. And then based on that, if they have no public dedication, then they can make the dedication as a cash payment or provide private parkland, which is all that this concerns. And the original dedication was half cash and half private as well.
Are those streets, being that it's gated, they're gonna be private?
Private streets?
We wanna make
We're gonna go
sure
through that
that they
again?
understand, and I don't, I guess we need to make sure that there is some document in these people's closing down the road that they fully understand that these are private streets, that the city will not spend a penny to repair them when they need to be repaired, as we already have in 2 projects in Quail Valley today. and they can't understand why we can't spend $3 million to replace their streets when they're private. I just, you know, it's kind of like the document that people in Sienna signed that said they understand that at some point in time they will be annexed at our discretion. There needs to be some kind of documentation in these closing statements that these people understand that they're buying in a subdivision that has a private street, and we're not going to maintain anything in there.
What standard are those streets built at?
Even though they're private streets, city ordinance does require construction of the public standards on the initial construction. Then, of course, we don't have any maintenance responsibility over the life of the street, so that sometimes becomes an issue.
And there are no sidewalks, right? Or are there?
There will be as part of the.
There are sidewalks?
As they build.
Require the sidewalk.
They will have sidewalks
Okay.
internally.
And those are private too?
Those are private, and the plat will record the right-of-way as a private right-of-way.
And there is also a note on, that's required on the plat that indicates that the HOA would be responsible for the maintenance.
Are they, well,
of the
that
streets.
brings up another point. Have they decided whether they're going to join Quail Valley Fund, or are they going to have their own HOA?
They've submitted documentation for their own HOA for just this subdivision.
So what do we do about garbage?
They have to go into the city's garbage. I mean, that's.
Yeah, they
gated
would go
community,
under the
though.
city garbage contract.
Okay. I understand that. I'm just,
That's not an option for them.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying, all this stuff always, it seems like after about the third house that's sold, it's like, I didn't realize that. I wouldn't have bought there. if I-
That'll all go back to the plat. What if, have they already platted? I mean, is everything,
The plat, this is the outstanding item. They have to receive approval and then
For the
address
final
the
plan to be
parkland.
done.
Once this is, if it's approved and they address the payment, then they'll be able to record the
so
plat.
all the stuff that we're talking about now beyond the parkland, that should be done through the plat.
Right.
And handled there.
Man, I got a couple of, I want to get an understanding. What's the math? How much parkland per unit? What did you say?
The ordinance requires $1,200, and that's a full parkland dedication
100,
per residential
Per
unit.
dwelling unit.
1,200 acres? 12, not
Per
1,200 acres.
residential.
$1,200 per
12, no,
lot.
I'm talking about the actual land itself. How do you determine how much parkland per unit?
It's based on the number of units, but the subdivision ordinance has outlined $1,200 per
I
lot.
understand that.
Or 1 acre per 100 dwelling units.
1 acre per 100 units?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many units are there?
45.
45. Okay, and how much land is dedicated for parkland up there?
They're required to, based on the half
How
of
much
the,
is the half?
it would be a little less than a quarter of an acre,
A
.22.
half of a half.
Right.
.225, and they're proposing
yeah.
.263.
Okay. What's the value of that?
And we wouldn't have it, right now, it's appraised as commercial property, because it's still part of, it hasn't been subdivided, so it's still
How
part of.
do we come to
other tracts.
$27,000 as an adequate amount?
It's based on the subdivision ordinance, based on the
So what's
parkland.
the value of the land?
The value of the land isn't a condition of the factor of how you determine the amount for the parkland dedication.
Oh,
Correct.
how do you do that?
For the value, it goes back to the number of units that are going to be on the property.
Okay, so I'm just trying to determine how do we come up with $27,000?
If you, let's see, there's one of the documents,
Well,
I think the letter that was sent from LGA Engineering, someone helped spell that out as part of your document there.
That .225 acres times 1,200, I mean, the
Number of units.
45 units divided by 2 is 22.
27.5.
Right. Multiply that times 1,200. I apologize for not being able to do such simple math up here. Multiply that times 1,200, that will also give you that 2,700. That's another mathematical, I was kind of
That's
tripping up on the
formula
600.
And that's the formula we use?
Right, and that's pursuant to
Correct.
the ordinance, and periodically, we do review that ordinance to determine that it is the appropriate value for purchasing and equipping park land, because it should reimburse the city in a sufficient amount for us to go within that park zone to acquire additional park land and equip it appropriately as
Because if
part
I'm
of
a developer and if each one of those units that this land is on is worth a certain amount of money and I just give up, bottom line price, it's a benefit to the developer. I'm just trying to determine if we are getting adequate compensation for money in lieu of. And you feel comfortable with that based on?
We do, for that park zone that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Now, this is private park, so they have maintenance responsibility for it.
Correct.
Okay.
One last question. That green spot, that's the parkland, right?
Right, all of the green
Okay,
areas.
It's not a thoroughfare of any kind. It's
No.
not, okay, it's just actual park stuff. They'll have benches on there and whatever defines a park.
It'll be at their discretion, any kind of furniture or equipment that they want to put on it. The portions towards the top are encumbered by that Exxon pipeline easement. It used to go. Yeah, so there probably won't be equipment in that area, but it's at their discretion as to what they want to install.
There won't be any teeter-totters for the seniors. And it's age restricted, so.
The skateboard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'll see more like passive stuff, park benches. And they'll have kids who'll come visit them that they may need some playground stuff.
We need a motion?
All right, let's see.
It's not a motion, is it?
No, I don't have a motion yet.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Emery made the motion, Councilman Smith made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Larry. Item 11 are resolutions. There are none. Item 12, city council announcements. Anyone have any? No announcements? Do we have executive?
We do.
All right, thank you all.